Salutations, respected viewers. I am George from Ireland. I'm on Eton Square in London. You can see that house behind me with a blue plaque. And that is where Lord Boothby lived from 1946 till his death in 1986. So Robert Boothby was born in Edinburgh, and his father was chairman of the Bank of Scotland. So they were very well to do. Boothby, he went to Eton, and he was fortunate to be just too young to serve in the First World War. He went on to Christ Church, Oxford, which was the grandest college in Oxford University, and had more noblemen in the college than any others, which is not to say it was intellectually distinguished either. So someone who was cut from his social cloth would find it easy to make it as a Tory MP. He was a journalist, so you can see where his house was here in London, because the family, they were not short of pennies, and he soon got himself elected as a Conservative MP. He was representing somewhere near Aberdeen. Those were the days when the Conservative MPs had plenty, so Conservatives had plenty of members of Parliament in North Britain. Of course, they lost them all in '97, and the last election they regained a baker's dozen. But anyway, he was not particularly conservative. He wasn't a communist, but it was just, this is a career for him. So he was married, and he was never once guilty of fidelity. He was also known to be bisexual, but he was wry, he was a wit, he was someone who was great fun to be around. He claimed to have met Hitler in the 1930s, and Hitler greeted him with Heil Hitler, and Boothby said he returned the compliment by saying Heil Boothby and raising his arm to a 45-degree angle. I suspect that one's not true, but he told that one on television in the 1960s. So in the early 60s, he notoriously befriended the Kray twins. Ronnie Kray and Reggie Kray ran this criminal syndicate. In the 50s and 60s, the underworld in London was dominated by two firms. North of the River Thames, it was the Kray twins, Ronnie and Reggie, and south of the River Thames, it was the Richardson gang, two Richardson brothers. Obviously, when I say Richardson brothers, it just wasn't just those two. They had plenty of consiglieri, and likewise, the Kray twins, it wasn't just those twins, and they were identical. They had plenty of gophers or lackeys and so on. They also had their elder brother Charlie Kray, who was in the gang but wasn't as senior as them. So he was friendly with them. He shared a boyfriend with one of them, Ronnie, who was the gay one, although Ronnie was married to a woman, of course, in those days briefly. Reggie was also married. Reggie was straight. And when they were arrested, Lord Boothby would ask questions in the House of Commons about it, saying it was outrageous that their civil liberties were being infringed, and that kind of thing. Now, did he know they were criminals? Fair point. Up until this time, I'm not sure they actually had any convictions, but you'd have to be an absolute moron not to know what they were doing, running these protection rackets with restaurants, with shops and so on. They seemed to have some sort of psychiatric disorder, as in they were just irrepressibly violent, extremely intolerant, and egomaniacal and so on. So he was hanging out with these brutes, know what they were doing, giving them sort of political cover. And in 1968, they were arrested on suspicion of murder. 1969, they were convicted and sent down for life. So they got terminal cancer. I think that's what killed both of them. And usually when it's estimated the prisoner's less than 3 months to live, they're released on benevolent patrol. One was let out in 1995, about a month before he died. The other one was set free in 2001, again about a month before he passed away, when it was judged, yes, they are dying and there's really no chance of remission. Boothby himself died in 1986. His reputation really somehow not much marred by his friendly association with these two hoodlums. So that's Lord Boothby. Well worth looking up his videos on YouTube. Well, a lovable rogue would be a charitable way to put it. Certainly he wrote with pace and verve, if you can look up some of his journalism.